G'day everyone and welcome to the Saber HQ. Today I've got Ben with me and we're going to go through a little bit of this backstory behind where Saber came from and how it got to where it is today. Ben?
Okay, so Saber Offroad's been active for the last 3 years, but where Saber came from has actually been running in the background for the last 7 years. So Mercury PM is the parent company that owns Saber Offroad. Mercury PM has been basically offering export support and export management for Australian brands sending products around the world. Brands, many of which you'd know, like Super Pro, Tough Dog, ProQuip, Pedders, and so many more. And it was actually during a visit to the Middle East, talking to a number of our customers, and the question kept coming back, can we get access to a good quality Australian brand of recovery gear? Went back, looked at a number of options, tried to find something that would do what they wanted. They wanted no straps, they wanted no metal shackles, they wanted something that was innovative and different. The fact of the matter was, in the Australian market, that just wasn't there. We were seeing it coming out of North America, but we weren't seeing it here yet. So what we wanted to do was find an Australian brand with a predominant focus on export, with a chance to send Saber product around the world. What then happened was the product was well accepted, and then we launched it here in Australia and started to really see the uptake. And it was during that stage that Steve came on board in January last year.
Correct.
To help grow, I guess, the product angle. When we started, we were kinetic ropes. We had our 9, 14 and 17K shackles, but that was really about it in the range at the time. Plus a utility rope and a couple of winch ropes. But our range was pretty limited, and it was focused on products that were selling into our key export markets. But obviously you came on board, and let's talk a bit about some of the products that I guess have come into the market over the last 12 to 18 months.
Yeah. Well, Ben, as you know, one of the first things I did was went on the trip with you internationally. Mm-hmm. We were in Dubai and we met with UAE Rescue, and we're one of the providers of their recovery gear. It's a 1,200 volunteer organisation doing recoveries in the Middle East. And they had come to us, and at that stage, one of their favourite shackles was our 9K shackle. They like it particularly because there's not a lot of recovery points over there on those vehicles, or the ones that are there are broken, and they're actually using the size of this shackle through holes in the chassis. Now that's all well and good, except that they were obviously going through these at a great rate of knots, and they were looking for some kind of protective covering on this shackle. Now we had the sheath shackle, and we could have applied a sheath to that, but we wanted something that was going to keep that size on the shackle.
Yeah.
And that's where what we did was, now you already had a bound shackle, so we had an idea of what we could do. You had this shackle. Now this shackle was bound in the exact same material as what the soft shackle's made out of, and it's abrasion resistance, but we knew we needed to take that one step further, and that's where we came up with this binding, and it's an aramid binding, and we were using Technora for that, and that's actually a cut-resistant fibre. So
I've actually taken to this shackle with a steak knife. Now you do eventually cut through it because it is actually woven on, but a recovery point, a hole in the chassis rail, it's not a steak knife. It doesn't eat the product, it's just a sharper edge, and you will not cut through this.
So what we've developed with that is a shackle that you can use on a lot of your square edge points. So if you've got, there are a bunch of different recovery points in the market, and most of them are square edged. What we've developed is a shackle that's going to work with those square edge recovery points.
Yeah, and we only launched that in the market in the last sort of 6 to 8 months, and the response has been fantastic. What about in terms of, before we move on to some of the alloy and otherwise, the shackles, you talked about it being wrapped in the same fibre as the soft shackle. One thing we did do mid last year was shift all our rope product into our own proprietary fibre, Saber Pro. Yeah. Do you want to talk about Saber Pro?
Certainly. So that was something you had already started when I came along. The groundwork for that was already in place. And essentially it was a case of sitting down and looking at what we could do with the fibre from a pre-tensioning point of view, what we could do with the fibres from a blend point of view, and what we could do with the fibre in terms of coatings. And they're probably the three things that you can vary with the fibre and come up with slightly different, I guess, end results. You get different UV protection, you get different abrasion resistance, and you get different life in the shackle. And what we were looking for, something that was going to give us long life, good UV stability, and as strong as possible for that core fibre.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where Saber Pro
Yes.
came from. So then we moved into our alloy range, and that's really where we've seen a lot of innovation in the last short period of time, and we've got a lot of stuff coming as well. Do you want to talk to us about that range?
Certainly. So when I joined, Ben, you already had the original Easy Glide ring, which was double anodized ring. Already had the optimum bend radius, so already had the much larger radius and the correct radius for winch ropes. So that was you already had that. So what I wanted to do then when I came on from product development point of view was really look at how we could improve that, improve what we were doing with the soft shackles. Take the ring design and look at how could it make things better for the soft shackle, because that's really what we are, we're rope guys, and we were looking at better ways of working with rope.
And we don't want to create metal to use more metal.
Correct. So that's where we came up with the Easy Glide 2. So what we came up with there was what we call our free-form design for the curve, which supports the soft shackle better. We also came up with a special V channel, which again, one of the good things that we've been able to do by making our own proprietary fiber is we've been working with you can call them the scientists and the mad lab scientists who work with all the different coatings and fibers, but actually talk to them about what we wanted to do with our different gear. And we were talking about, well, how do we go about supporting this? And there are quite a number of research papers that explain why a V channel is better than a flat channel. And so we basically sat down with them, said, well, this is what we want to do. Is it going to work? What's the longevity of the fiber? And that's how the Easy Glide Ring 2 was born.
Okay.
From then we went back through the recovery range. You already had some anodized fair leads. We were looking at better coating solutions that work better in the Australian environment with the harsh UV we've got here. We came out with a Cerakote. So anybody who's watched our videos before will have seen us talk about the Cerakote or the ceramic coating. Cerakote is, I guess, a trademark term that comes out of the US. It's an American application. We've got a young fella here in Brighton, Victoria, who does the coatings for us. Again, this is a little bit about moving more and more of the work back home. We wanted to make the gear fun, so we came up with a really nice range of colours, but also it was about protecting the different materials in that harsh environment here in Australia.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think gets missed sometimes is a product can be released, might be suitable for use in maybe in the US or in Europe or parts of Asia, but our conditions here are different, and we wanted to have a solution that would actually fit that bill. And being able to bring it back here and do all the coatings here, the lasering actually in this factory, all that sort of activity in Australia gives us a real point of difference as well.
Yeah, I mean, that fun thing, I don't want to get away from the fun aspect. We were really, we looked at where recovery gear was, and it's kind of boring.
It is.
And so we were looking to spice things up, and that's where we went into prismatic powders. And so our rear hitches have got the different colours of prismatic powders, and that's only just a couple of the selections we've got there. And you guys are telling us that was the right choice. Everyone absolutely loves the red, the blue, the gunmetal grey, the new pink, the green. They just really, really pop.
They do. Yeah. So I guess when it comes to our alloy range, we have the colours, but we have the coatings that'll be hard enough wearing. But we've also designed them, as we've said from the start, for soft shackles. Our products aren't designed to be used only with metal shackles. In many of the products, you could use them with a metal shackle if you wanted to. But what we want to do is give you a solution that is designed to be used with soft shackles to give you the best possible life for your soft shackles and to support them.
Well, I mean, you can talk about our alloy winch shackle, which is due out very shortly. I mean, the radius bend that we've put on this, both the front and the back, is designed, again, it's all about maximum radius. Now we talk about optimum bend radius in the ring, and it's much, much larger. That's a moving radius. What we've got here on the radius for the alloy winch shackle is what we call a fixed radius for a rope that is not actually moving at the time. So that radius is perfect for that rope.
Yeah. So I think that gives you a pretty good snapshot of where Saber came from, where Saber is.
But wait, Ben, you've forgotten the most important product.
The ring?
Nope.
The hitch?
Nope.
Bound shackles?
Nope.
What?
Not the fair leads, not the winch ropes. It's the world's strongest keychain.
Okay. So tested earlier today, we believe, until proven otherwise, that we have got the world's strongest key ring. Braking at over 3 tonne.
To my surprise.
I think you guessed 600 kilos, but we're not going to go into that. This is a truly cool product, and we're excited to have it available now in our range. And speaking of our range, we've got our soft shackles, our kinetic ropes, winch ropes, full range of alloy, all that stuff, all those products are designed for the harshest of Australian conditions to then send them obviously around the world to a variety of export customers and our customers here in Australia. We are so proud of the range that we have.
And Ben, on that note, thank you very much for your history lesson on Saber. And guys, remember, we've got the gear to get you home.